All right, next project we have. First of all, I'd like to introduce my pastor, Pastor Jeff. Pastor Jeff, what do we have here?
I believe it's a Suzuki Quadrunner from, I think it's a 93. So it's a Quadrunner 250 and it has four-wheel drive. It's got a whole bunch of different levels of four-wheel drive. You have a locking differential, you have a lot. People really enjoy these because they're really hard to get stuck because of all the things that it can do with that transmission. So
sounds good. Now, what do we need to do to get it running and working great?
Probably quite a bit. It was riding. The last time I had seen it, it was riding, and that was probably almost a year ago. It drove fine, but we had some trouble with the carburetor. I think we may need to just swap out a carburetor and see if we can get it running. And then we got a little bit of body work that needs to be done, and then we'll keep playing with it and find out what all the other things are. But they're fun little machines. So,
all right, neat little project for the channel. We'll have to go in phase one. Thank you, Pastor Jeff.
All right.
All right, I got her back in the shop. I got all the plastics off of them, and the plastics were really nasty anyway. Try to see what we're looking at. There should be a battery right in there, and there isn't one, so I have jumper cables hooked up to it. I tried to jump it, and she would not turn over at all. So I thought that was weird, and I attached, there's a pull start on it. I attached that and went to start it that way, and oil come flying out because there was no starter in it. So Pastor Jeff said there was maybe some parts missing and maybe a challenge. So challenge accepted. I just purchased a new starter for it, and was able to get it to pop over a little bit. Before I spend any money, like the tires are shot and whatnot, before I spend any money on it, I want to make sure that that motor runs and the motor's healthy. So now that I got a starter in it, I did, put a little go-go juice in there, and it did pop over and ran for just a second. Not out of the woods yet, but I figured, well, let me put the compression tester on there, as you can see, and let me see what we got. Now, we're hoping for more than 150 would show probably a healthy motor. We have about 160. I don't know if you can see that there. About 160. So I'm happy with that. Probably that piston and sleeve has been in there since the 80s. It's probably original. That's pretty good. So let's see if we can get her running. All right, here we are back outside with the old girl. Yeah, we're making some progress. It seems like one step forward, two steps back. The reason why, I'm just going to give you a little feedback. The reason why I agreed to do this project with the pastor is I really don't have any other projects going on. It seems right now everybody's asking retail for their junk. And I get it. I mean, times are tough. But it doesn't make any sense for me to buy something, at such a high price. Especially something that's going to need a lot of work. And this is costing me no money. It's just costing me a little bit of time. And, well, for the starter and probably some insignificant parts. But we need to make decisions. Do we want to replace these tires? The back tires, I mean, if you look at the dry rot on them, yeah, that's significant. And it's leaking. So at least the back tires need to be replaced. That's 150 bucks. A battery, but a battery's pretty cheap. I don't know what Arlo the dog thinks. But anyway, let's take a look at our progress. So, she's a runner now. That's great. But it's kind of running like a hit or miss motor. Not fantastic. I think it's carburation. I also think the valves. I mean, I don't think I had it quite at top dead center when I did the valves. So the valves could be off a little bit. Maybe they're not opening all the way. And it does that. It'll rev higher and lower. The choke is not set on it. It's just set to off. So why it's going through these surges, I'm not real sure. Maybe an air leak somewhere. I don't know. So how far do I want to go with this project? Well, you'll see by the end of the video. But as for now, hey, you got a runner. So we're going to celebrate the successes. Okay, here we are back working on the Project Quad 250 four-wheel drive. We've removed what I believe was the offending article, which was the aftermarket carburetor. I just could not get that thing to work. My buddy Mike has given me a Fibby. No, it's not a Nibby, it's a fake Nibby, so we're calling it a Fibby. It is a 32 millimeter carburetor. It seems to be working a lot better. Just had to make a little modification to it. If you could look on this carburetor and see right here, you got a vacuum line. Okay, that's not the intake, that's a vacuum line. And that would feed the fuel pump right there. Okay, well, this Fibby doesn't have that, but it does have, for lack of better words, a nipple right here. And if you drill it out and you put a hose on it and a clamp, and I've tested it, it does provide vacuum to feed the fuel line for the fuel pump, and it does get it fuel. Now, let's see how it runs. Turn it on. And just no more hit or miss, you know, it's pretty nice. And it runs real nice. I'm having one issue, and I don't know if it's throttle linkage, and I'm leaning towards throttle linkage, or if it's the carb sticking a little bit. But every once in a while, it kind of sticks throttle when I took a ride, but it rides real good. It's real responsive. I mean, it has a lot more power than with that other carburetor. Now, in working on these projects, we run into a little problem sometimes, and that is where we fall in love with the projects we're working on. So I had to make the call to my pastor. I said, listen, as I'm fixing things on it, and I'm realizing that the steering's tight, the transmission's awesome, you get these super low gear, everything you said about it is true, it's just really nice. We're looking to sell it, and these things in really nice condition are selling for they're asking $1,200 and not even getting that. So you're not getting a whole lot of money for the amount of machinery you're getting, for the amount of technology, even though it's old technology. And I mean, this thing's a real workhorse. I now have 170 PSI. I just did another compression check on it after it's been running for a while. So I had to talk with the pastor. I said, you know, I'm really interested in this. Well, he's willing to give it to me. But I said, no, let's come up with a price. Well, he came up with a price he likes, and I think he's overvaluing me. But that's this right here. Now, this is the exact same quad as what that is. It's a little bit of nicer aesthetically than what this one is, but he just happened to have two of them. He says, listen, this thing here is not running 100%. There's some things that need to be touched up on. It doesn't have front brakes. The lights, and this was not done necessarily by him, but you could see we got a winch, which is great. We got lights, which is great, but we got them on top of each other. Not great. So we maybe need to move the lights, you know, maybe up in here. Get the front brakes working. It has a knock. Let's see if we can get it to start. It has a real bad valve tap. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. So I don't think we need to worry about getting a carburetor switch, a different carburetor on this. I think we can work with this. We might try a different jet, because it lags a little. Like maybe it's a little bit rich, but it's not terrible. So maybe we can fix this up a little bit and make it sweet for the pastor. And but I mean, they're both really nice machines. So I don't know. We're going to try to make this mostly about this machine here, but we'll have a little bit of our fixing up on this. And yeah, stay tuned for our next part of the project. Okay, so I thought it'd be a good idea to get the pastor's quad done first before I start working on the one that he's willing to give up. So what do we do with it so far? Well, a lot of things you can't see. We got a new master cylinder right here, and there was no brake pads for the drum brakes in the front. So, but there was a brand new set included. So I went ahead and hooked it up, and it was not working. So I ended up replacing put a brand new master cylinder on there, and it works great. So now we have front brakes, okay? Remember how the lights were blocking the winch, and you also had some of the wiring? Well, by moving the lights out, it gave me room to put like the the brain for the winch where the lights were. And now we can put new lights on top of there. And look at how nice and bright they are. They're very small. I've used them before, but yeah, they're really bright. So I like that. Okay, so what else do we do? Let's see. We got rid of that tapping. I still hear a little bit of a chain noise, but that's a lot better. We also shined up the machine a little bit. And we did a little something extra with the tires. I'll show you when we're all done. But pretty much the same thing we do on all our wheels. But yeah, so far this thing's about ready to send back to the pasture. Alright, so the video's getting kind of long, so I'm going to have to cut the video right here. But right now, we are done with that quad. Now, normally, at the end of the video, we do a verse of the day, Pastor. So, what do you think of that?
I got one if you want one.
Well, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll share with you my favorite verse, but I want to give a little bit of an explanation to it. When you're working on things like this, what you really need to know is what kind of quad it is. And to do that, you usually look on this one. It's right back here behind the back tires, the VIN number. And the VIN number tells you everything you need to know about the car, or the buggies, or the quads, or whatever. So the verse that I want to use today is from Isaiah 43. And it says this. This is what the Lord says. He who formed you, Israel, he who created you, O Jacob. This is what the Lord says. Do not be afraid, for I have redeemed you, and I have called you by name, and you are mine. As we look at that verse, we can see who we are. And knowing who we are, then we can be all that God's created us to be. But if we don't know who we are, then we're going to be lost, and we won't even know what to buy or what to do. So there's my verse of the day for you.
Awesome. Well, maybe we can get our subscribers to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Bing.
Thanks for watching, guys.